In this video, I'm going to show you how to hand draw your own paper miniatures without using a computer at all. What's up everybody? My name's JP. I am a professional illustrator, designer, cartoonist person, and I spend most of my time sitting at a computer, drawing, working. I use a PC with a Wacom Cintiq and Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. I have invested a lot of money in fancier equipment because my job requires me to be fast and efficient and hand over files in a certain way. But I realize that in this tabletop role-playing game hobby, not everybody has access to these types of tools. So I wanted to do a video that empowers you to draw your own paper miniatures without any fancy equipment or any computer whatsoever. Just a few basic art supplies. So here's what you're gonna need. A ruler to measure out the miniatures template, a pencil and an eraser, an X-Acto knife and glue. I'm using rubber cement, some sort of black pen and black marker. I'm using a gel pen and a Posca marker. And since I'm gonna be coloring these miniatures, I have a set of simple colored pencils. I should also say that I am using a sheet of 110-pound cover stock paper, so it's thicker paper. If you can find some paper that's a little bit thicker than regular printer paper, it'll help the miniatures feel a little more sturdy. But if you don't have access to stuff like rubber cement or an X-Acto knife, really you can use a glue stick and a pair of scissors. If you don't have a Posca marker, a Sharpie will do. Really the point is whatever basic art tools you have should do the trick for these miniatures. All right, step one is to make a template. So I'm gonna be making a sort of standard 1-inch base size miniature. So the base is 1 inch by 1 inch. And then the actual miniature size, the part that stands up, is gonna be 1 inch wide by 1.5 inches tall. So on the screen right now is the basic measurements of this template that I'm using and how it folds down to create the miniature. So the idea behind this is that it's super easy to cut out. It's just a long, skinny rectangle to cut out, and then you fold it down to create a sturdy stand-up miniature. If this doesn't make total sense right now, as we go through the video, it'll become much more clear how all this works, and you can always come back and reference this part of the process later as well. All right, now it's time to draw the miniatures. So I've cut out 4 templates, but I think I'm gonna draw 3 different characters. I have this side project that I'm working on. Hopefully I'll be able to show more of it on the channel soon. But the 3 main characters are Lola, the half-orc barbarian, Flick, the halfling rogue, and Dee Dee, the elf wizard. So I'm going to turn these 3 characters into miniatures, and I'm starting off by drawing on the miniatures with a pencil, just using simple shapes to figure out how the characters are going to look. There'll be cards popping up in the top right-hand corner of the video that will take you to other videos I've done about how to draw characters. I really want to emphasize that even if you think you can't draw, I promise you that if you take a look at some of these other videos, you'll see how easy it is to make really cool looking characters out of simple shapes. And the super cool thing about drawing characters this small is that it forces you to not get too detailed with it. You can see that the hands of the characters are just circles. Their faces are just different circle shapes with circle eyes and little corner noses and a smiley face mouth. And the whole point of starting with pencils is that you can erase and change things around and figure things out before committing to what the final miniature is going to look like. That being said, once you do have your characters figured out, then it is time to ink over them with a black pen. I'm just using a simple Jelly Roll gel pen. You want something where the tip isn't too big because you're going to be drawing so small, but really this stage is just about cleaning up your drawing, making it super clear and clean looking because these miniatures are so small. You want them to be super readable. So that's why I like to use these solid black outlines on the miniatures. Once the outlines are all finished, then I'm going to use a marker to fill in around the character with all black. So usually for the paper miniatures I make on the computer, I just keep the background white and keep everything as simple and easy to assemble as possible. But because I'm hand making these miniatures, I'm gonna go the extra step. Filling in black around the outside is really gonna make these miniatures stand out and pop and make them a lot cleaner looking as well. So you might have noticed that I'm only drawing the front of the miniature at this point. So what I'm doing is taking the rubber cement and gluing just the stand-up part together, the illustrated part of the miniature, so the front and the back, just those parts stuck together, not the base part yet. We're saving that for later. So with rubber cement, you put it down on both sides, you let it dry, and then you stick it together, and the paper's not coming apart after that. Then I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife to cut an outline around the figure, and I'm going to be very careful not to cut into the base at any point. Now I can flip the miniature over and draw the backside of the character. Hopefully you can see why I waited until I cut out the silhouette to do this part, because I can kind of flip the miniature back over and kind of look to see where things go and how to match everything up so it all makes sense and looks good. And hopefully you'll see why I didn't glue the base part down, because I want to be able to lay the miniature flat to draw the back part. You know, if I went ahead and glued the base, I wouldn't be able to lay it flat and keep drawing, so that's why the base is still unglued. I'm following the same process that I did on the front side, so I'm starting with pencil, figuring everything out, then moving on to inking the outlines with the gel pen, and then I'll color in all of the outside areas with the black marker. At this point, I'm also going to color in the base with the black marker. I'm leaving the underside blank so I can label the miniature. You know, if you want to keep the base blank, or you want to draw your character standing on cobblestones or in grass or dirt or whatever, feel free to go crazy with it. I'm just keeping this simple and coloring everything in with black. Alright, and now comes the fun part. I'm gonna just use these colored pencils to color up the miniatures. If you want to keep them black and white, you totally can. If you want to color them with markers or paint them with watercolors, that would actually be really awesome. However you want to color them in or leave them blank, it's up to you. But yeah, I'm finishing off these dudes with some colored pencil. Okay, so now the drawing and hard part of putting these miniatures together is done. I'm gonna brush on a little bit more of this rubber cement onto the bases and fold those over to glue everything together. And now these could be the finished miniatures, but there is one more step to do to make them look super awesome, and that is to take your black marker and go along the outside edges. And what this really does is hide any of the imperfections from cutting out such a small thing. Just color it all in black and it'll look super professional. And once that's done, you have an awesome looking hand-drawn zero computer paper miniature. All right. Alright dudes, I couldn't be happier with how these turned out. And really this has got me thinking, how special would it be to create one-of-a-kind, custom, hand-drawn paper miniatures for my players? You know, it's one thing to draw something on the computer and print it out and put it together, but to actually hand draw it and color it in and do all of this to create a truly unique, one-of-a-kind paper miniature, I think that's really special and could be an awesome gift for your players or other people in your D&D group, or just to have them sitting on your desk. I'm going to put them right here for now. Boop, boop, boop. So yeah, I had a ton of fun making these little dudes. Because they're such small drawings, they don't take that long to do. It actually takes longer to cut them out and assemble them than it does to draw and color them. So it makes me want to draw a whole bunch more. But anyway, please, please, please let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. And even more importantly, if you do make your own paper miniatures using this method, send them to me on social media. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I love seeing what you create. And when people send me maps and drawings and stuff, it gets me inspired and makes me excited to make more videos like this. So yeah, I always appreciate that stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!